Hey everyone, I want to do the 150-mile review on the Beecool Pathfinder, and on this step through we are at about 100 miles on this one on my wife's bike. Just wanted to go over a few things with everybody, some of the things that we've had to take care of. Like for example, on my wife's bike, we did have to tighten up this stem here for the forks because it was wiggling a little bit. And all you have to do is loosen these up, tighten this down, tighten these back up, and just make sure you're aligned and it's good to go. Since we're here at the front end, we did put the water bottle holder, which is nice. And then this hydraulic fork works really well. It's not just a regular spring fork. And it does have this adjuster here. If you click this about 3 clicks, it will limit your travel, maybe about half. You can lock it out, of course, but if you still want a little travel on a bumpy road, it does help to just limit it about halfway, and you still can take up all the rocks off the road and maybe a little occasional pothole. But also too, we have had where the heel is hitting the frame here. This frame seems to be wider than mine on the step over because of the design, and then these wires stick out and catch the heel a little bit on. So we put this cover on and it protects the wires from your heel smacking it and any chain slap from down here. Also too, we did have to tighten up these cranks. It's an 8mm Allen wrench. Just make sure you give those good tightening after 50 or 100 miles. Also, for some people that might not know, on this suspension seat post, if you pull it completely out on the bottom, there is an Allen wrench that you can turn it to the left, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and soften that up, which my wife liked quite a bit. So then on hers, she ended up with the rear bag since she don't have to swing her leg over. And believe it or not, that little bag holds a lot of stuff. So also too, everything's held up very well. One thing that I didn't like was my grips moving, since I am trying to like jump and turn and ride it a little crazier than her. So I ended up getting some Pro Taper grip glue remembered that from my old motorcycle times, and then put a cap on the end just to make sure this thing can't fall off. But now the grips are tight. Put the cap on hers too, even though she didn't want her grips glued down. But it's a lot better with the grips glued down for any guys that have strong hands, or if you're riding in real rough stuff and your grips start moving around. I tell you, this little bag works great. We keep our pump in here. I have one of those mini pumps with a patch kit inside. I put my phone, wallet, keys, everything. Just added a little tape underneath so it wouldn't scratch the frame, some electrical tape. And then on the front Velcro, you do have to add an extra piece of Velcro to get around that big old frame. But that's all right, it works great. Same thing on mine. I put this on for the wires and also chain slap so it doesn't scratch all the paint up, since the paint job looks so nice. Went ahead and went with a little bigger pedal for my big feet. Seems to work out well for me. Also, I saw someone online helped me out with this. I couldn't get rid of the squeak on my brakes no matter how much I tried to adjust these back and forth. And they said to loosen these bolts up quite a bit, then go to your lever or have someone help you squeeze it in very tight. Then that will align this caliper, and then you can tighten these bolts back down. And it eliminated almost every bit of squeaking that mine was doing. Now I think mostly it's just dirt. I hardly hear it at all, so it worked very well. One thing to remember is underneath this bike, on both of them, but this one, mine has more wires hanging underneath where they can get damaged. So until I can make a skid plate for it, or someone comes out with one to buy, I put a piece of cardboard and then some Gorilla Tape on there just to cover it for now, for any protection of rocks or sticks coming up and tearing those wires off. since they are going to the controller and then back to the wheel and also up in the frame to the computer. So the bike's held up very well. Like I was saying, this one has 150 miles on it. Someone was asking about getting into this computer and changing their settings. When you first turn the computer on, within 5 or 10 seconds, right as it comes on, hold your mode button down, and it'll take you into a screen that some people might not have found yet. And it has all of this information. I know it's not real clear. There's wheel size down there. And it does have the speed limit, but I have changed that to 30 and I've changed it to 20 and it made no difference at all, so I do not understand why that is. I believe Beecool is making sure we can't mess around with the computer like the models before, and I was told that it would affect your warranty if you went and changed any settings, like all the past settings that you could do on your Adventure and your Explorer. You can't change any of that on the Pathfinder that I know of yet. So someone was asking about clearing their trip distance on here, and once your computer's on for about 30 seconds, you hold the mode button down again and it takes you into this screen where you can see I've already cleared my data. But in this screen where it has the distance, the time, the speed, the max speed, this is all pretty darn accurate. I've used my GPS and then compared, after a long ride, all of these settings, and they are very close, within tenths and half a mile and so on. So these are the ones I would go by, because this over here where it says max speed per hour and average speed, and then it says trip distance per hour, that one right there, for some reason that number keeps going up, and it goes up way faster than the miles do. And I thought, well, maybe it was telling you how many miles you could go in an hour because of the speed you're going. Nope, that wasn't it either. So I have no idea. If anyone knows trip distance mile per hour, why that number never matches the actual distance, I'd like to know. But everything seems to work real well. I'm not sure what other problems anyone else has been having other than some shipping issues with, unfortunately, one of the delivery services that might be tossing these around too much. Mine just came with some minor scratches. My wife's had a few more scratches and blemishes and stuff on there. They said they're going to send some paint. No big deal. We're probably going to scratch them a lot worse than that. But we did have them in the mud, and when I was rinsing off the bike, you just got to make sure you don't get any water in these hubs. And I just sprayed the tires and up under in the fender and made sure I didn't spray any water in here. And other than that, they've held up really well. So thanks. Take care.